So yeah, I'm Clint Hawking. I'm the creative director on Far Cry 2, and I'm going to give you guys a little tour of the level editor and show you how quickly and easily players are going to be able to build their own maps. So what I'm actually going to do is, instead of loading a map that I've been working on, I'm going to actually build a map right in front of your eyes and show you how fast and how easy it is to build a map for multiplayer. You see it's a completely empty field. It's like 512 meters by 512 meters, and absolutely nothing in it. So I'm going to pop in here, and I'm going to take this terrain tool, the bump tool, just to start. And then I'll just start building myself a little mountain just to begin with. So you can see already starting to deform the terrain. That's not really such a big deal. It really looks kind of like a big fleshy blob. I mean, Far Cry 2 we have really organic and natural environments, and we need to be able to make stuff look really kind of organic and realistic. So we've added some filters. One of them is a noise filter. This is the erosion filter. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to crank it right up here. Crank the size of it up, and then I'll just apply erosion to this mountain. And you'll see already just instantly the mountains start to erode away. Make it look much more like a very, very natural sort of formation. You can see how it's got a ridge on the top, and there's been little sort of land movement action that's eroded away and created this very organic feeling hill. Now I'm going to take one of the texture tools here. I'll grab a mountain rock texture. And then with this, I'll take the brush constraint editor and I'll edit the constraints so that I'm only going to paint on slopes that are steeper than, say, something like 20 degrees. By doing that, what it does is it means if I want to paint over here, which I'm doing right now, oops, I'm using the wrong texture anyways, but if I want to paint over here, see how it doesn't paint anything? It's because it's not steeper than 20 degrees, but if I paint there, it does, right? See? Paint, paint, paint. So then I can just take the radius of this way up. I don't need to I don't need to meticulously paint every square inch of it. I can just make the brush as big as I want, and boom, it just paints just the mountain. But again, that's still, I mean, as organic as that looks, it doesn't look that organic. Let's go to the noise tool and really create a giant field of very, very organic looking rock formations here. Take this, zoom out a bit, and then I'm just going to start using this to make a big, huge map size sort of noise field that will look really like organic, naturally eroded and weathered terrain. So boom. Now the main difference, just so you guys know, obviously on PS3 and Xbox, the controls and the interface that I'm using, you see here, are all basically more or less exactly the same, except the buttons. It shows the PS3 buttons. But on PC, we have sort of a Windows-style editor, so basically all the functionality is exactly the same. It's exactly the same map editor. It's just the skin of the interface that's different on PC. Now I'm going to go back. Here you'll really see the power of that constraint thing. Now that I'm sort of applying this to a huge field, you'll see it really creates this eroded feeling where the sort of angled faces of the rocks that have been blasted away by the wind or the water or whatever are exposed rock, but the sand and dust that's been worn off of the mountains is kind of collected together to create this really, really natural feeling field of terrain. And this is just in a few seconds. Like this was a blank map 30 seconds ago, right? Now, making terrain is pretty simple, but Far Cry is really obviously well known for its like destructible, beautiful vegetation. So let's go in here and take one of our vegetation systems. This is what we call a collection system, and this is a sort of procedural set of rules for how a savanna grows. So instead of placing individual trees, what I'm doing is painting in trees. It'll place a large tree, and then according to the rules, see how there's clusters of smaller trees around it? That's how it really works in the savanna. There's a big tree, and basically animals will come to get shade under it. Their droppings will become food for smaller trees, feeder trees, or birds will eat the fruit or whatever, or the fruit of the tree itself will become feeder for the smaller plants that grow around it. So again, instead of having to manually place all of the trees, you just use this tool and you're just painting them in, right? If I want to just zoom out here and just paint this really, really fast, fuck it, just go super large. Just make that brush as large as I can, and then just paint the entire map with this really quickly. Take that off the rock face there and just paint myself a huge entire savanna just in a few seconds. To leave it off the mountaintop maybe, but basically other than that, just boom, 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 boom. Take it off of there, delete it off of there. There we go. And then just paint in the back. And there. Now we have this whole huge savanna. And now Far Cry, we as developers know that you need to be able to iterate your content. What if you work on this for hours and hours and hours, add all the gameplay in and everything, and then you don't like it? It's really important that you're able to pop in anytime you want and check it out. So we gave you the ability, the game is running in the background all the time. You never have to actually save it, load it, go through all the process. The whole thing is just operating all the time, running in the background. And it's not like a fake version of the game. Oh, I'm actually I missed a spot. So I'll hop back. I missed a spot, so I'll hop back out. I'll take my my terrain tool, and I'll just repaint that in there and then pop back in. See, you wouldn't have caught that if I'd done it for hours and hours, hand placing every single tree, and then found out I forgot that. I'd probably want to shoot myself. But here, the whole game's running in the background, and you can just pop in anytime you want, fix your mistakes, make sure you see everything from the point of view that the player's going to see it in. And it's not like a fake game. It's the game running in the background. You can see the fire propagation and everything operating just like it does in the real game. I'll get up into the trees, and you'll see the full destructibility of all of the trees and everything. The other cool thing is, because I can do it so quickly, what if I decide I don't like it? Well, that's what's awesome is because it's just sort of rules that are sort of embedded into slots, I can just pop out into this and I can change my, my savanna underbrush and my savanna mountain rock for jungle underbrush and jungle mountain rock. And then, boom, I make the whole map green. Even better, I can pop into the collection system, swap out the rules for a savanna woodland, and swap in the rules for a sort of a heart of a dense tropical jungle. And then, boom, I just press the button again. And within a couple of seconds, I'm walking around now in a tropical jungle like you'd see in Congo or something like that, with big leafy plants, and everything's very green. And again, all the destructibility and interactivity is there. All these plants are dynamic and fully interactive. And you can even hear the sounds of the savanna, which used to be like, insects and wind mostly, and a few birds in the distance. Now it's like the sounds of like cawing monkeys and jungle birds, and much denser and much more alive than what you saw in the savanna.